Make it 26 in a row for James Madison, which rolls into FCS final. Harrisonburg, no game in James Madison postseason history had drawn more fans than Saturday's Football Bowl Subdivision semifinal against South Dakota State, and the crowd of 16,528 never tired of throwing purple and gold streamers into the air after each of the Duke's 7 touchdowns in a 51-16 win. That kept in line with a school tradition, and the final batch was thrown in the final seconds, when the entire crowd chanted Frisco on loop. That also felt like a familiar practice on a night when James Madison won its 26th consecutive game and punched its ticket back to the FCS National Championship in Frisco, Texas, where it will defend its title against North Dakota State on January 6. You start the season, and everybody has the goal of making it to Frisco, and certainly that was our goal this year, said James Madison coach Mike Houston. To have the opportunity to go back down to Frisco and compete for another national championship is truly an honor. James Madison's performance may have felt routine, but it began in bizarre fashion and finished with James Madison, 14-0, coming away with a school record 10 turnovers. South Dakota State, 11-3, committed 5 of those on its first 5 drives of the game, yet James Madison only had 7 points to show for it. At that point, senior quarterback Brian Shore, 203 yards, 2 touchdowns, approached senior wide receiver Ishmael Hyman and told him they needed to rally the offense and score late in the second quarter, which Shore eventually did on a 2-yard sneak with 11 seconds remaining before half that made it 21-10. Steinberg, the winning streak that shall not be spoken of, the lead didn't feel safe until the early stages of the second half, when junior running back Marcus Marshall, 203 yards on 15 carries, scored on touchdown runs of 65 and 87 yards on the first 2 drives of the third quarter to push the lead to 25 points. Although the Duke's offense settled down, the night belonged to James Madison's defense. The unit picked off South Dakota State quarterback Taron Christian 6 times, including 3 from cornerback Jimmy Moreland and 2 by safety Jordan Brown, and recovered 4 fumbles. A pair of those recoveries came from Kyer Hawkins. 10 turnovers, I don't know if you're ever going to win a game with that. That would be a miracle, South Dakota State coach Jim Stiglmeyer said. South Dakota State, which was making its first appearance in the FCS semifinals and was averaging 444.2 yards and 38.8 points per game, was held to just 366 total yards. Christian was also sacked 5 times, including 2 from defensive lineman Darius Carter, who also had 2 forced fumbles. Aside from his 2 interceptions, Brown also had a fumble recovery. We really focused on the little things this week. We wanted to put together a complete performance this week, Brown said. The whole team came together, and it was a fun game. James Madison entered the night with one of the most vaunted defenses in the country. It led the entire FCS in scoring defense, allowing just 10.3 points per game, and it had recorded 25 interceptions. But after an up-and-down showing in a comeback 31-28 quarterfinal win over Weber State last weekend, Brown said the unit focused on addressing its vulnerabilities this week. South Dakota State committed 3 straight turnovers in the third quarter as it desperately tried to rally, which fittingly led to the game's final touchdown when James Madison defensive back Raven Green returned an interception 59 yards for a score to make it 51-10 with 36 seconds left in the third quarter. The game had long been decided, and the entire crowd already knew that they would have their rematch against North Dakota State. Saturday marked a year to the day that the Dukes beat the Bison in the FCS semifinals. Shore celebrated on the sidelines with his teammates on the sidelines at Bridgeforth Stadium. I love when we score and to look up and see the streamers fly, Shore said. Hopefully we get to see that in Frisco.